Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari
Si Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramhamsa Parivrajikacharya Ashtota Siddha Shishimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Ki Jai. Narmacharya Shri Haridasankar Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Hari Gaur Bhakti Ki Jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to the assembled devotees, Hare Krishna. All glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 9, Text 16. Yaha Vai Aham Cha Girishaha Cha Vibhuhu Swayam Cha Stiti Udbhava Pralaya Hetavaha Atmamulam Bitva Tripat Vavridhe Ekaha Uru Prarohaha Tasmai Namaha Bhagavate Bhuvanadrumaya Yova aham cha girishascha vibhusvayang cha. Yova aham cha girishascha vibhusvayang cha. Stitudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam. Stitudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam. Vidva tripadva vridha eka uru prarohas. Vidva tripadva vridha eka uru prarohas. Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Yova aham cha girishascha vibhusvayang cha. Stitudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam. Bitva tripadva vridha eka uru prarohas. Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Yova aham cha girishascha vibhusvayang cha. Stitudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam. Bitva tripadva vridha eka uru prarohas. Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Yovaham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha. Yovaham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha. Vidyudbhava prayalaya hitavat atmamulam.
Vidyudbhava pralaya hekava atmamulam.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Yoga aham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha.
Yoham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha.
Stityudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam.
Vidyudbhava pralaya hitavatmamulam.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Yoga aham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha.
Yoham cha girishascha vibhusvayam cha.
Stityudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam.
Vidyudbhava pralaya hitavatmamulam.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Vidva tripada vavridha eka uru prarohas.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya.
Mataji.
Yoham cha
Takishascha vibhusvayam cha. Sityudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam. Vidva tripadva vridha eka uru prarohas. Tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvanadrumaya. Yaha, one who. Vai, certainly. Aham cha, also I. Girisha cha, also Shiva. Vibhuhu, the Almighty. Swayam, personality, as Vishnu. Cha, and. Sthiti, maintenance. Udbhava, creation. Pralaya, dissolution. Hetavaha, the causes. Atmamulam, self-rooted. Bitva, having penetrated. Tripat, three trunks. Vavridhe, grew. Ekaha, one without a second. Uru, many. Prarohaha, branches. Tasmai, unto him. Namaha, obeisances. Bhagavate, unto the personality of Godhead. Bhuvanadrumaya, unto the tree of the planetary system. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in three trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we three have grown with many branches. Therefore I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation. Purport. The cosmic manifestation is grossly divided into three worlds, the upper, lower, and middle planetary systems, and then it broadens into the cosmos of 14 planetary systems, with the manifestation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as the supreme root. Material nature, which appears to be the cause of the cosmic manifestation, is only the agency or energy of the Lord. This is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 10, Maya Dhakshena Prakriti Suyate Sacharacharam. Only under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord does material nature appear to be the cause of all creation, maintenance, and dissolution. The Lord expands himself into three, Vishnu, Brahma, and Shiva, for maintenance, creation, and destruction respectively. Of the three principal agents controlling the three modes of material nature, Vishnu is the Almighty. Even though he is within material nature for the purpose of maintenance, he is not controlled by the laws of material nature. The other two, Brahma and Shiva, although almost as greatly powerful as Vishnu, are within the control of the material energy of the Supreme Lord. The conception of many gods controlling the many departments of material nature is ill conceived of by the foolish pantheist. God is one without a second, and he is the primal cause of all causes. As there are many departmental heads of governmental affairs, so there are many heads of management of the universal affairs. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, the impersonalist does not believe in the personal management of things as they are. But in this verse, it is clearly explained that everything is personal and nothing is impersonal. We've already discussed this point in the introduction, and it is confirmed here in this verse. The tree of the material manifestation is described in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita as an Ashvata tree, whose root is upward. We have actual experience of such a tree when we see the shadow of a tree on the bank of a reservoir of water. The reflection of the tree on the water appears to hang down from its upward roots. The tree of creation described here is only a shadow of the reality which is Parabrahman, Vishnu. In the internal potential manifestation of the Vaikuntha Lokas, the actual tree exists, and the tree reflected in the material nature is only the shadow of this actual tree. The impersonalist's theory that Brahman is void of all variegatedness is false, because the shadow tree described in Bhagavad Gita cannot exist without being the reflection of a real tree. The real tree is situated in the eternal existence of spiritual nature, full of transcendental varieties, and Lord Vishnu is the root of that tree also. The root is the same, the Lord, both for the real tree and the false, but the false tree is only the perverted reflection of the real tree. The Lord, being the real tree, is here offered obeisances by Brahma on his own behalf and also on behalf of Lord Shiva. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manopishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadama Hyam Darati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Utaf Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavams Cha Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vashakan Vitam Cha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhuvi Eva Cha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivikasa Swaminiti Namane Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunivadi Pashtati Deshtarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivas Adi Gaur Bhaktivinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Yova aham cha girishas cha vibhu swayam cha stitudbhava pralaya hetava atmamulam bidva tripad vavritha eka uruparohas tasmai namo bhagavate bhuvana dumaya. Your Lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. This tree has grown by first penetrating the material nature in three trunks, as me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty, for creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And we three have grown with many branches. Therefore I offer my obeisances unto you, the tree of the cosmic manifestation. So we see this point emphasized over and over and over again throughout the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, it's there. The Upanishads, all Vedic literatures actually keep stressing that Krishna is the supreme cause of all causes. He's the root of the tree as being explained here, this analogy, that he is the prime root of the tree. He's the origin and dissolution of all. There's so many verses that explain this. And we see it in all these different prayers offered in the Bhagavatam. Lord Brahma is offering prayers right now. He also offered prayers in the second canto and said similar things. And then in the 10th canto, he also offers prayers to Krishna after he's this Brahma Vimohan Leela. He comes and he offers prayers and asks forgiveness from Krishna. And we see so many great devotees. I was just reading in 10th canto, this chapter 85, where Vasudeva offers prayers to Krishna. And the first thing he says is a similar thing, that you're the origin. He's speaking to Krishna and Balaram. You're the origin of everything, and these kinds of things. And we see often in so many devotees' prayers that they're emphasizing this fact that Krishna is the origin, he's the creator of everything, he is the prime cause of all causes. Anybody know? So there's one thing that we repeat more than any other thing, other than the Mahamantra in the morning program that emphasizes this. Anybody got the answer? There you go. Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So, the Brahma Samhita, Brahma is repeating this over and over and over again. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, Adi Purusham. So he's saying the original, right? The original. And we see this over and over and over again. Krishna himself says it in the Bhagavad Gita many times that, what is this? Mataf para taram nanyat kinchidasti dhananjaya. So he's saying, there's no truth superior to me. Krishna's saying that. And then chapter 10, text 8, you can pull that up, Bhagavad Gita. Right. Aham sarvasya prabhavo mata sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam buddha bhava samanvitaha. I am the source of all spiritual and material worlds. Everything emanates from me. The wise who perfectly know this engage in my devotional service and worship me with all their hearts. So Krishna is saying it, his devotees are saying it, the Upanishads are saying it. It's said over and over and over again. It's emphasized over and over and over again. And we might question, well, why? Why do we need to hear this so many times? It's just over and over again. Okay, I get it. Krishna is the original person. He's the source of everything. But it's very important that this keeps getting emphasized. Well, first of all, it's glorification of Krishna, which is always fresh and nice to hear for the devotees. So even those that are on the topmost platform, Brahma is a pure devotee here, and he's speaking this, and all these devotees in the Bhagavatam also are on the same level, and they're pure devotees. They're speaking this. So in one sense, it's relishable to speak these things and glorify the Lord in this way. It's pleasing to Him, and it's also pleasing to the devotees. But in another sense, for the conditioned souls like ourselves, that hearing this over and over again is very important, because we have to really imbibe this understanding and imbibe this mood, because we hear it and then we forget it, and then we hear it again and we forget again, and we kind of keep going through this cycle of Krishna is the center of everything. Everything emanates from Him. Everything must be done for His pleasure. He's the enjoyer. He's the controller. He's the creator. And we hear that, but because we've been conditioned since time immemorial to believe that we are supreme, we are the enjoyer, we've taken on this mentality, this selfish mentality of wanting to be independent, supreme, enjoy material nature, lord it over material nature. Because we've had that for so long, even though we keep hearing this over and over again, and we dedicate our lives to this understanding, right? We center our lives, all of our activities are centered around this understanding that Krishna is the center. He is to be worshipped, not us. We are subordinate, we are His servants, these kinds of things. Even though that's, at the forefront of our consciousness, you could say, it's emphasized over and over and over again in our lives as, full-time devotees, still, we don't imbibe that mood. We'd still refuse to actually accept that on some subtle level. Otherwise, if we really accepted it, if we really understood it, we would be pure devotees. We would have no material desires left. We would be, completely engaged in devotional service 24/7. We would have no thought of any, sense gratification, trying to enjoy separately from Krishna. We wouldn't have any kind of idea or any conception of such a thing. But because this is a gradual process for almost all who engage in it, we are becoming purified of this material contamination that has plagued us for birth after birth after birth. And so we have to really nail it into our heads that we are not supreme, Krishna is supreme, and He's the origin of all, and all these things. So it's good to, this is why one of the reasons why we keep reading Prabhupada's books. And you might say that, you're reading Prabhupada's purports, and so many things were repeated over and over again. You listen to Prabhupada's lectures, he was saying so many things that, you can listen to many of Prabhupada's lectures, and you'll hear many of the same things said over and over and over again. Similarly with my Guru Maharaj, Bhakti-Vikas Maharaj, you hear many of his lectures, he's saying many of the same exact things that you've heard him say so many times. But it's because of our own foolishness that we refuse to really understand what is being said in it. It takes time to uncondition ourselves, recondition ourselves to the proper understanding of the fact that, again, we are subordinate, we're not the controller. And so it's an important thing that we hear this over and over and over again. We remind ourselves. You'll notice if you go some time without reading Prabhupada's books, or not reading, as much as you should, and then you go back to reading again more. Like yesterday, I got to read for almost like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something like that. I was just reading a lot. And the consciousness, you can tell a marked difference, a notable difference in kind of how you're feeling. And wow, okay, like, you might have been feeling a little bit less motivation or inspiration in Krishna consciousness, but then you just read Prabhupada's books, and immediately you can come back to like, oh, wow, it's like a very refreshing thing. It's like getting, a nice drink of water in the desert or something like that. It's just very refreshing. And so this is why, it's so important to continuously hear and read and chant and associate with devotees, because, again, this long conditioning period of millions of births, countless births, has led us to a state where we really need a very strong dose of medicine and a strong dose of Krishna consciousness to take us out of this state. And here specifically, Brahma is emphasizing that, Krishna is superior to Shiva and himself, Brahma. That, he's the prime root. He's talking to Krishna. Your lordship is the prime root of the tree of the planetary systems. And it penetrated the material nature in 3 trunks, Shiva, me, Shiva, and you, the Almighty. And so he's saying that ultimately you're the origin, you're the root. And so this is something that you don't see it really at all with Westerners, maybe a little bit, that Westerners that have gotten into some kind of idea of Hinduism and stuff like that. But generally you see this with Indians, preaching to Indians. I remember having quite a few conversations like this in Athens. Specifically, some Indians would come and say, well, how is Krishna supreme? He's one of the avatars of Vishnu, I thought, and all these things. So, Hindus, modern day Hindus might have some kind of loose conception of ideas of, Krishna and Vishnu. Maybe they're supreme, but then how is Krishna supreme over Vishnu and all these things? In one sense, it's the same, but we understand that Krishna is the original candle from which all these other candles emanate, all the other avatars and incarnations. But then also the question of, well, Shiva or Vishnu, who is supreme? We had this one boy that was asking this many times, and we explained to him, the Shastra explains over and over again, and Shiva even becomes, in the Bhagavatam, there's the pastime where Shiva becomes bewildered by Mohini Murti, who is Krishna. And it's not that he was bewildered by the material energy, but we understand that Mohini Murti was Yogamaya, bewildering him. So he became bewildered by the potency of the Lord. And this was, again, to emphasize the supremacy of Krishna in this pastime. And many other things. There's also when Shiva and Krishna actually fight. I can't remember the exact details of that, but because what is it, Banasura? Banasura, right? He had a benediction that Shiva would protect him, and then Krishna came and fought. And Shiva actually did that to kind of break his pride, Banasura's pride, and show him that Krishna was supreme. But we see so many pastimes saying that. This is a very, very nice book. I didn't read it all, but I was just reading it for a little bit yesterday. It's very nice because specifically for preaching in this specific topic to Indians, because, well, first, it requires, generally if you're already on this level of debating, well, who's supreme, Krishna or Shiva or Brahma or Vishnu, these kinds of things, you're accepting of the Vedas, you're accepting, the truth of Shastra and things like that, that Shastra is bona fide. So you have to kind of be at that point. But once you are on that level, this book has so many quotes and references to different Puranas and Upanishads and all these kinds of things that explain. It's not just Krishna saying in the Bhagavad Gita that he's supreme. That's there, of course. And it's not just the Bhagavatam only saying that Krishna is supreme. It's so many, it's all Vedic literatures are pointing to this fact. Just a couple here. Shudhe Maha Vibhutakye Pare Brahmani Shabdyate Maitreya Bhagavat Shabda Sarva Karana Karane. O Maitreya, the word Bhagavan refers to the Supreme Brahman, who is full of all power and opulences, is the original cause of all causes, and is the supreme transcendence, pure and always untouched by matter. That's in the Vishnu Purana. And then there's this really interesting question and answer here. I just want to read some of this because I found it pretty enlightening. So question, in the Vedic texts, especially the Upanishads, the absolute truth is mostly referred to as Brahman. So why do you say that Lord Krishna is the supreme? And the answer is, yes, it is true that the Upanishads mostly use the term Brahman to indicate the absolute truth, to elevate the reader to the platform of understanding the Supreme Lord's transcendental nature, so that his name, form, qualities, and pastimes may not be mistaken as material. But Brahman may also refer to the Lord's potencies, such as Prakriti, material nature, or Jiva, individual soul. And then there's this quote from the Shvetashvatara Upanishad. The eternal supreme personality of Godhead should be known as the super soul in everyone's heart. It should be known that no one is superior to him. The individual spirit soul who enjoys material nature, the material nature that is the object of his enjoyment, and the supreme personality of Godhead who dominates both individual soul and matter are described as the threefold Brahman. So all three of those are described as Brahman. The Jiva, Prakriti, the material nature, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so it says, so one may ask, how can we know what the Vedas are referring to by the term Brahman? And why are the three obviously different items, the Supreme Lord, the material nature, and the living entity, indicated by the same word Brahman? The absolute truth means God and his energies, which are not different from him, since he is their source. This is the conclusion of the Shastras. Shakti Mator Abhedaha. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Master of all potencies, is not different from his potencies. So it's just a similar, it's this analogy that we've heard so many times, the sun and the sun rays, right? The sun is in this room, right? There's some sunlight in this room, so you could say the sun is in this room, but the sun planet obviously is not in this room. It's much different. So in one sense, the sun is in this room, in another sense, it's not. Similarly, he explains in here how, and we've heard this again so many times, but there's, Brahman realization, Paramatma realization, and Bhagavan realization. So at the level of Brahman realization, you're realizing the rays aspect of the sun. You're realizing that. And then at the level of Paramatma realization, you're realizing the fact of the sun planet is there. And then Bhagavan realization, you're realizing the sun god within the sun planet. So just by knowing the topmost thing, the sun god, you automatically understand the planet and the sun rays. But just by understanding the sun rays, you don't understand the planet and the sun god. So similarly, it's explained that, there's three levels of realization: Brahman realization, Paramatma, and Bhagavan realization. And we should strive for the topmost, obviously, and understand that the source of these impersonal energies is a person, right? So, what is it? So it's a person, and it's explained in this purport here. Let's see, the second part of this purport. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, the impersonalist does not believe in the personal management of things as they are. But in this verse, it is clearly explained that everything is personal and nothing is impersonal. And Prabhupada also references this Bhagavad Gita, chapter 9, text 8, I believe it is. Maya Dhakshina Prakriti. Can you put that up? 9:8. Oh, 9:10, sorry. Maya Dhakshina Prakriti Suyate Satcharacharam Hetananena Konteya Jagadvi Parivartate. So, this material nature, which is one of my energies, is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, producing all moving and non-moving beings. Under its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. So, in the translation that he uses in here is slightly different. So he says, only under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord does material nature appear to be the cause of all creation, maintenance, and dissolution. So, like it's saying here, material nature appears to be the cause of all creation, maintenance, and dissolution. And you see, for the scientists and all these, mental speculators, they come to the conclusion that yes, material nature is the origin of all creation. That this material nature is causing the creation and maintenance and dissolution of the world, and it's just a bunch of energies, right? It's the Big Bang happened, and matter settled down in this certain way, and then because of the laws of nature that are there, there's conservation of matter and energy and these kinds of things, and right? So gravity's acting, and then it's acting on a macro scale and a micro scale, and then evolution and all these things. But it's all it's an impersonal force and energy that's happening. But Krishna is very clearly explaining that yes, while this material energy is directing, you could say, this world, actually there's a person behind it, and without Krishna's glancing at the material nature and impregnating it with all the living entities, it cannot act. So it's acting under his direction. And yeah, there are, you could say like forces like this happening, but it's all happening under his supervision ultimately. Of course, he's aloof from it at the same time. It's not that he's personally making everything happen, but it's also said that not a blade of grass moves without the sanction of the Supreme Lord. So it's very inconceivable things. It's like he's acting in this world, he's also not acting. He never touches the material nature. And the material nature is his energy, which is controlling all the living entities. So he's never under the control of it. And like I was saying before, that we hear these over and over again. We hear these different prayers by different devotees in the Bhagavatam, and just different texts that we read, the Acharyas and such. And it's very nice. I mean, specifically like these prayers that emphasize, like if you go to 7:8, Bhagavad Gita 7:8, just this idea that Krishna is all these different things. He is the heat and the fire. He's the light of the sun and the moon, taste and water. So yeah, Rasoham Apsakonta. You can just go to the translations. I'll just read those real quick. O son of Kunti, I am the taste of water, the light of the sun and the moon, the syllable Om and the Vedic mantras. I am the sound and ether and the ability in man. Next one. I am the original fragrance of the earth, and I am the heat and fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penances of all ascetics. Keep going. O son of Prata, know that I am the original seed of all existences. There you go. That's another example of Krishna saying that. I am the original seed of all existences, the intelligence of the intelligent, and the prowess of all powerful men. I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharats. And you can go now to just another example of this, Bhagavatam 1085 index. This is now Vasudeva, who is praying to Krishna and Balaram, and he's saying very, very similar things. I remember reading this just the other day. Sri Bhadrayani said, one day the two sons of Vasudeva, Sankarsana and Achyuta, came to pay him respects, bowing down at his feet. Vasudeva greeted them with great affection and spoke to them. Having heard the great sage's words concerning the power of his two sons, and having seen their valorous deeds, Vasudeva became convinced of their divinity. Thus, addressing them by name, he spoke to them as follows. Vasudeva said, O Krishna, Krishna, best of yogis, O eternal Sankarshan, I know that you too are personally the source of universal creation and the ingredients of creation as well. There you go, source of universal creation. You are the Supreme Personality of Godhead who manifests as the Lord of both nature and the Creator of nature. Everything that comes into existence, however and whenever it does so, is created within you, by you, from you, for you, and in relation to you. O Transcendental Lord, from yourself you created this entire variegated universe, and then you entered within it in your personal form as a super soul. In this way, O unborn Supreme Soul, as the life force and consciousness of everyone, you maintain the creation. Whatever potencies the life, air, and other elements of the universal creation exhibit are actually all personal energies of the Supreme Lord, for both life and matter are subordinate to Him and dependent on Him, and also different from one another. Thus, everything active in the material world is set into motion by the Supreme Lord. The glow of the moon, the brilliance of fire, the radiance of the sun, the twinkling of the stars, the flash of lightning, the permanence of mountains, and the aroma and sustaining power of the earth, all these are actually you. You are the water. My Lord, you are water, and also its taste and its capacities to quench thirst and sustain life. You exhibit your potencies through the manifestations of the air as bodily warmth, vitality, mental power, physical strength, endeavor, and movement. So you see, very similar prayers, or very similar things are being spoken as to what Krishna was explaining himself to be. Rasoham Apsakonti, I'm the taste of water, and then Vasudeva is also saying you're water and its taste and its capacities to quench thirst. He's saying you're also strength. Krishna also says that I'm strength of the strong. So it's very similar prayers here. In one sense, Krishna says, in one sense I'm everything, but although I'm aloof from this material creation, in one sense I'm also everything. And in another sense I'm separate from it as well. So these are inconceivable things, and I like reading this. I mean, I remember when I read through this, it creates a level of like your consciousness becomes kind of contemplative on these things, and it removes that you're the center of everything for at least a moment, like just the analogy of the clouds are covering the sun, and then sometimes a little hole appears in the clouds and the sun comes through. Similarly, in Krishna consciousness, we can have these experiences of a moment of clarity, you could say, of where we're realizing, oh, actually, all these different things are Krishna. This body is created by Krishna. All these senses are, sanctioned by Krishna. My ability to think and act and eat and do everything is actually under Krishna's sanction. Under, he's the power of everything. The taste in water, when we drink water, we can think of that Krishna is water, the taste of water. So all these things, and we can become Krishna conscious in this way. And this is what the pure devotee is seeing. They're seeing everything in relation to Krishna. They're seeing that this material nature is, although it is the prison house for the conditioned souls, actually, when you're in Krishna consciousness, you're no longer imprisoned in this way. And you see everything in relation to Krishna, okay? That the conditioned souls are here because of their unwillingness to surrender to Krishna, their unwillingness to accept Krishna as supreme. So it's related to Krishna in that way. And so by reading these kinds of things, we can imbibe that, and then we can start to see Krishna in everything that we're doing. I really like this. You exhibit your potencies through the manifestations of the air as bodily warmth, vitality, mental power, physical strength, endeavor, and movement. I mean, these things are just core to our existence, bodily warmth. The body, as always, stays at 98.5 degrees is like the body temperature, it's warm. It's heated. And then vitality, we need vitality in order to act, and endeavor and movement, right? Without endeavor and movement, we can't do anything in this world. So all these things that are just core to our existence are there. And ultimately, like I said before, that we're hearing this so many times over and over again because as the conditioned souls, we struggle to accept that, or we refuse to really imbibe that. And instead, we're thinking of ourselves as the center of everything, that we are the center of the existence. Me, my family, my country, all these things, all these isms are the essential, most important thing. And under this illusion, we are suffering life after life. But by simply understanding philosophically and acting in the way that we put Krishna in the center, then we come back to our constitutional position. Then we become the fish that goes back into the water. And we're actually able to experience real happiness and contentment in life because we're acting in the proper understanding, right? So again, the Vedic literature stresses this over and over again. This is a really nice book that explains how not just the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, which are, of course, the topmost literatures, the ripened fruit of Vedic knowledge is the Srimad Bhagavatam, but even all the Upanishads and all these other, the texts, they're actually pointing to the fact that Krishna is supreme. And through understanding it from a philosophical level, not just through blind faith or something like that, but actually understanding philosophically why Krishna is supreme, understanding that Krishna himself says he's supreme, all the great saints and sages in history have said he's supreme, Brahma, Shiva, Narada, all the Mahajans, they're all saying that Krishna is supreme. Krishna's activities display that he is supreme. These prove that he is supreme. The Vedic literatures all explain that Krishna is supreme. So through all of these things, we can develop faith in that. And then through practical experience, okay, we hear that Krishna is supreme, he's supreme over and over and over again, okay. But actually to experience it is when we chant Hare Krishna, and we can chant for hours and hours and hours, and we can all day listen to kirtans and hear about Krishna, all these things, and it never becomes stale for us. And this is, practical proof of the fact that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because there's nothing else you can chant over and over again and get that effect. There's just not. And even the most relishable music that you really like, that gives you the best sense gratification, it will become old after some time. Everyone understands this, and everyone, they find a song they like, they listen to it so many times, and then it becomes old, it becomes stale for them. And then they have to find the next thing, find the next thing, find the next thing. So when we come to Krishna consciousness, we can experience that firsthand. So we can hear that Krishna is supreme, and then we can practically experience it by experiencing the honey, the nectar of Krishna consciousness, and getting a small taste of that, a small glimpse, like that sunlight coming through the clouds. So I'm supposed to end at 8:30. If there's any quick comments or questions, feel free to ask. Got 2 minutes. No? If you don't have it, it's okay.
No, I was hesitating. Well, who's going to be on the modes in nature? Can you scroll up in the purport, actually? There was about how all the everything coming from Krishna, if you will, all the modes of material nature. I was going to ask, so like earlier in the chapter, or at least in this canto, I know we saw Lord Brahma being bewildered and born into ignorance, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, being born into ignorance, right?
Yeah.
And we also chant the prayers like before we take prasad about how the body is like a network
Sure.
of
Ignorance.
leading to ignorance, or cells leading to ignorance. I don't know the
Yeah.
exact translation, but so is it that these? I know the again, I'm sorry, this is like a dumb question. We know that like the everybody's born to ignorance, and the bodies that we take are according to our karma, and it's like coming from material nature. But is it that like our bodies are also coming directly from like a particular mode, or like it's coming specifically from mode of ignorance, or like is there? Can you like speak on that?
Different living entities are in different modes of material nature. So like demigods are in the mode of goodness. Animals are in the mode of ignorance primarily. Humans are primarily in the mode of passion. But it's mixed, so it's all mixed. Like we're not purely in the mode of passion as human, but like that's like generally there. And you see like, certain animals are born into human life after, like a cow is in the mode of goodness. And so it's born as a human, generally in the mode of goodness. And then like, what is it, a lion, I think, is a mode of passion. And then, I don't remember the one what's the one in the mode of ignorance? Is born, and is another animal that's in the mode of ignorance is born into the. So you see different living entities are generally in different modes of material nature. So it's not that like, we're just like purely in the mode of ignorance all the time. I mean, ignorance, I think, is in that sense is referring to like we're just ignorant. Like it's not that just that like Om Jnani Timyandasya, right? Like I open my darkened eyes. Like we're blind to real knowledge and understanding. So we're ignorant in that sense. But it's not that we're just purely only mode of ignorance, because it's all mixed, right? So we can come up to the mode of goodness, and then from that we can actually get real knowledge and clarity and understanding. We can't make spiritual progress in the mode of passion and ignorance. So does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay. It's 8:31. Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripasindubhyevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.